Good evening and welcome to Now You're Cooking. I'm Mike Fear, and tonight I'm going to do a traditional English dish called Bakewell Tart from the county of Derbyshire. Before I do that, I just want to, oh yeah, that's the Bakewell Tart right there. Before I do that, I want to just let you know that we are open. We're open 7 days a week. We're open from 10 until 5 every day, except for Sunday, we're open from 10 until 4. With Christmas approaching, we'll be open probably a little later in December, but for now that's our hours. With the holidays coming, we do have our catalog. It's our very own handy dandy catalog. It's really awesome. It's got some fabulous products in there. Will be coming to your mailbox very soon if you haven't already got it. And so without any further ado, we'll talk about Bakewell Tart. Bakewell Tart was a mistake. It was a jam tart which was made in, I think it was the 1600s, and an apprentice cook put the egg in the wrong place. He's meant to put it in the pastry and put it in the actual pie filling. So we're going to make our pastry first, and this recipe is a short crust pastry, and I don't know if any of you have made short crust pastry. And if you do need the recipe for that, I don't know that we provided you with that. We can certainly send it out to you, or you can come and buy our wonderful book called Dough, and it just has every recipe of pastry you ever want. So in order to make it, I have to weigh out my flours. And this is an awesome thing, by the way. This is in the catalog. We have a ton of them. Easy to store. Put it on your bookshelf. $34.99. Just you'll love this. It's turn it on just by touching it, and I can put my pot on there. I can tear it out. And there we go. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to use cake flour for part of this. So I'm going to do 4 ounces of cake flour. So I see there is almost 4 ounces, and okay. So that's my cake flour. And then 4 ounces of bread flour, and just another ½ ounce. And it's really good to be precise with this. This is like chemistry, and so with chemistry you want to have your weights exact. And there we go. So I've got my 8 ounces of flour. So I can set that aside. I can hit the tear button here, and it takes me back to 0, where it turns off. Now I want 4.5 ounces of butter, and put that on, tear it, and put that on, and there is. Should be 4 ounces. It's pretty close. And now I'm going to add another ½ ounce. And there we go. I've got my 4.5 ounces of butter. And I need to combine them in here. Oh, and one other thing I need is a half a tablespoon of salt. Just a half tablespoon. Sometimes it's good to have these things measured up so we don't forget, salt's kind of important. And did I say about the butter? It should be unsalted butter. You have more control. I like to cut the butter up before I put it in here. The recipe recommends that this should be room temperature. This butter should be room temperature. I'm so used to going with very cold butter. And you could do this, you wouldn't have to do it by hand, but I choose to do it. I'm going to use my pastry cutter and just cut the butter into the flour. And this is very exciting. You've all done this before, I'm sure. I doubt that you've used cake flour and bread flour. You've probably just used all-purpose flour. And does it make a huge difference? I don't know that I've really tried it. I just really like this pastry. I haven't done a side-by-side comparison. And I think, to be perfectly honest, the all-purpose flour is going to be just fine. And got that, so it's pretty well incorporated. You don't want it to be too fine. You want to have those lumps of butter in there. Okay, feels pretty good to me. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add an egg. And so I'm going to crack my egg. I like to crack the egg into something before I put it in, not crack it directly in. If I have a piece of shelf-full in there, I want to have the chance to hook it out. And it would be good if I could, little bowl, little whisk. And I'm just going to quickly whisk the egg up a little bit. Okay, and then in it goes. Okay, it takes a little while to combine this, but anyway, we just start by stirring it and getting the egg nicely distributed through. And you can do this in your mixer. I suppose I could have done that, but then I'd have to clean the bowl before I do the next thing. And my wife's not here to clean the bowl for me. And we get start to mix together, and it should, after a while, it will start to bind together. Combination of the egg and the butter and the fat and the flour. And the other thing we'll do is once we roll this out, we'll roll it into a disc. And we're not actually going to use this for tonight's recipe. You want to get this rolled out and put it into plastic wrap and put it in the fridge to rest, and then bring it out when you're ready. And so it's right out here. And see, it's still very crumbly. And what I like to do is to get it into a disc, about a 1-inch disc. It is very crumbly. Not exactly in the good condition that I want to put my tart in. Okay, I think I'm going to call that good, just so that I can put it in the fridge. And grab my foil. This is always handy to have, especially if it works for you. I've been using it all day, and now it wants to bind up on me. Oh, let's see. Caught right there. Got it. So I just do that, and say it's very, very tender at the moment, but I want to set that aside and get the pastry I'm going to use, which is right here. And you see a nice 1-inch disc here. It's been in the fridge, and now take it out and be ready to. Okay, and grab my rolling pin, and I'm actually going to use a pie plate for this one. It's really, it's super to, oh, here's another handy thing. This is a Great OXO product. I want to put flour on here, but I don't want to put too much flour. Just so I can just sprinkle some flour on. It's it's designed that you could put cheese in there. You could put, it's got a couple of different holes. You see the different size holes, depending what you need to do, and you can close it all the way up. Anyway, so putting a little bit of flour on here, I find it very useful. So I'm going to use this pie pan here, and it's important for you to understand what a wonderful pie pan this is. Emile Henry makes just fabulous pie pans. They use Burgundian clay to make it. It's the most forgiving clay, in as much that you can take it from the freezer, put it into a hot oven. You know, I'll freeze an apple pie in one of these, and I can just take it and put it into that hot oven. I'm ready to go. Why it's important for me to tell you about it is that this is a $49.99 pan. We got a huge deal from Emile Henry, and it is $29.99. I kid you not. We've got a lot of them, so if you want a really beautiful pie pan, this is the one for you. We've got a variety of colors, so come in and check it out. And I should focus on my pastry because it's trying to fall apart. Well, I say trying, it's succeeded in falling apart is what I should say. But we won't let that get us down. Is it, Heather, should I actually make the dough here, or should I have it ready to go? And, okay. The great thing with pastry is you can always do some patching, and that's what I feel like I'm going to do in a second. Let's see what we got going on here. It's always fun when you do it in front of people like this. Okay, patching it up here, and I'm going to cut off the surplus with my cheese knife. Now, some people will bake this blind. I'm not going to do that in this instance. I'm just going to leave it this way and have it bake with the pie. I've always felt it works really well. Plus, I didn't think you really want to see me have the thing kind of melt down and look awful. I do have some pastry left over. And I'll show you in a minute what I'm going to do with that. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go on to the Bakewell Tart filling. So you all have the recipes for the recipe for the filling. I'm using a mixer here. I'm going to put pre-measured 4 ounces of sugar here. And that's going right in to my mixer. 4 ounces of butter. And again, I think it's a good idea to just chop it up. If you want to combine it with the sugar, and you chop it up before you put it in there. That helps, I think. Okay, a little bit of noise going on here. So with this, I want it to cream the butter and sugar together. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to have to stop and scrape it down a bit before I start adding the other ingredients. So I will tell you, those of you who don't have mixers, there is an extreme dearth of mixers at the moment. I don't know that we have a single mixer in the store to sell. Somebody was very excited yesterday. They bought our last KitchenAid mixer. Fingers crossed, we should have some Cuisinart mixers coming in a week or so. So we're hoping that's happening. This has actually come together quite well. This is actually creamed better than the first lot. So I'm still going to scrape it down a bit, but you can see how it's got nice and creamy and the sugar's well combined. I use, this is more of a fine sugar. In England we have something called caster sugar, and it's actually finer than granulated sugar, the regular sugar we have. But I think that the regular sugar over here is actually a little finer than our granulated in England, and so I think you'll find this is good. Okay, run this a little bit more. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a few items. We're going to add some almond essence. This tart is got a lot of lemony almondy stuff in here. So this is an almond essence, and this is where that was plenty. It's powerful stuff. Put some almond in there. Doing a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Vanilla is one of my favorite flavors. It's like I want to put that in everything. We're going to do zest, lemon zest. This is just fabulous, the microplane. Just basically, you want to just take the zest off. Don't get down to the pith if you can help it. And I do it this way, then I can just turn this over and knock it in. I can see what I'm doing. So I run the grater across the lemon itself, and it just builds up in there, and then I can just knock it in there. Gives it some wonderful lemon characteristics. Citrus is great for flavoring. Okay, that's good. Then I am going to take my tool for juicing half a lemon, and these work great. You can get them in other material, but wood works great, I think. And they're a little less expensive than their stainless steel or ceramic. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I couldn't find my usual tool, but I don't want the pits in there, so I'm just going to strain it right through there. Actually, there's hardly any pits at all. Okay, there's only about one pit in there, so that's good. So now I'm going to just pop that down again. Let it some more. Unfortunately, we don't have smell-o-vision, but all those flavors in there, all that is just right now is smelling fabulous. And we've got sugar, butter, vanilla, lemon, almond. Just smells great. So now we're going to put our first egg in. and put my shell in. Looks good. Pop it right in there. Turn her on. Let's get that mixed down in. Oh, lose my paddle. These paddles are great, but if you twist them the wrong way, they just fall right out. Okay. So the first one I made here tonight, I used a sponge for part of the, you'll see the recipe has some sponge or breadcrumbs. Well, I used like a pound cake, so I thought I'd try that. I used a lemon pound cake too. For this one I'm going to use breadcrumbs. I use fresh breadcrumbs. Okay. So these are my fresh breadcrumbs right here. So this is what I'm going to put in this particular one. It's 3 ounces, and let me just throw that right in. So the pound cake looks like that. So it's not quite as dry as the breadcrumbs, not quite as light. So it'll be interesting to see the difference in the flavor. And then the other thing I need in here is 3 ounces of ground almonds. And I take slivered almonds and I actually run them through a food processor myself. And turn you on. Okay. My scale does not want to work. Yes, there it goes. There. Okay. How long do I do this before I get my backup scale out? I think I'm going to get my backup scale out. Which is...
It's up left.
Okay. And I'm going to go... So I'm going to do again 3 ounces. There we are. And so this is ground almonds. Don't use almond flour in this particular recipe. I don't think it works as well. It's too fine. I like the texture that gives it. Mix this. And there we go. And then we'll take this off. It really, the lemon is really beautiful. And then I need half a teaspoon of baking powder. Sprinkle that over the mixture. And then a tablespoon of milk. Okay. Mix it in. Okay, see the mixture there? Okay. Now, back to my pastry. seedless raspberry jam is good. This is seedless black raspberry jam from Stonewall, and so if you want to buy some, I know where you can get some. It's not too far from here. It's a good one. So you can use any jam, to be quite honest. I've done it with red currant jelly. I've done it with a number of things. And 2 to 3. Let's put a little bit more in there. Just makes it really taste fabulous. And we put that all the way around the bottom and spread it as evenly as possible. And once we've got that in there, and we take the mixture here, and we're just going to pop it in and distribute it as best we can. So with this, it's fabulous for presentation. You'll cut the pieces in pie shape. The beauty of the one I baked earlier is you can cut it into fingers, and that really is a great way to serve it in fingers. Okay. So. I should turn on my pepper a little bit. So the next thing to do is take whatever you've got for leftover pastry and just if you've got a lot, you can do a lattice. I probably don't quite have enough for a lattice, so I think I'll just put pieces across like so. Just gives it a nice look when it's baked. And okay, all set to go. Now just pop it in the oven. We're going in at 400 degrees, right there. 10 minutes at 400 degrees, and then lower the temperature to 350. 15 minutes, sorry, 15 minutes. 15 minutes at 400 degrees, and then 20 to 25 minutes, and go 30 minutes if you feel like it's not quite there. You can sort of just sense it by just pressing down on it. That's just lovely and firm. Fabulous dessert. It's just you know, make it ahead, have it cold. It's really good. It's really good with dessert wine, and we've got a couple here for you to see. One from Hungary, one from Austria, one from France. They're wonderful dessert wines. Have them with Bakewell Tart. Have them with any dessert. They're really just outstanding. Talking about wine. You know what next Thursday is? It's Beaujolais, Nouveau Beaujolais. We will have some next Thursday. If you need some, make sure you come in and let us know. And don't forget, we are open 7 days a week. We look forward to seeing you. And thank you for watching today.